In this video, I'm going to show you my ultimate macro diffuser setup. Hello, my name's Stuart Wood and welcome to this video. In the last video where I took a first look impressions on the Canon MPE 65mm lens, I also showed a DIY diffuser setup that I'm currently using for my macro photography, and that is this setup here. This setup comprises of the Yongnuo twin macro flash. My flash heads are mounted on little ball heads, and we have the Crafty Bells diffuser at the front here. And this gives great results on jumping spiders or any other insects, as you can see from the examples in the photos here. First of all, why have I come to the decision to use that? Basically, I want the best of both worlds. I want my lighting to stay consistent. I want control over where the lighting is and the power of the individual heads. I want the LED focusing assistance on my flash. Absolutely love those. But you can't get it all within one simple setup. You have to use a kind of a DIY setup, and this is what I am going to show you in this video. So first of all, let's talk about the different lighting setups you could use for macro photography. So there are three types of flashes you can use for macro photography. The first one is your standard speedlight, which goes on top of your camera. The second one is the ring light, and the third one, and my favourite, is the twin macro flash. They all have their pluses and minuses, and again, when I'm talking about this is my own personal opinion. If you don't agree with it, that's great, you go with whatever you're using. Let's start with the standard speedlight. So this is the usual configuration you'll see someone using. You have the speedlight up the top here, diffuser here at the end of the lens, and that works perfectly okay. I love the diffuser. I absolutely love that diffuser, but I don't like the speedlight where it is for several reasons. One of the reasons is a lot of times I like to go into what I call the portrait orientation. And when you do that, your lighting changes to coming from the side. So if you've got a subject that's lying up the bark of a tree like this, you want to get the whole subject in. We can get it in, but your lighting is coming from one side. I don't like that. I like my lighting coming from the top. Another reason why I don't like the speedlights is they don't have focusing LEDs for macro photography. So if you find yourself in a dark situation, you can find it very hard to focus. That can be fixed by getting a torch like this. You can strap it to your flash and you can shine it through the diffuser. That will help you to focus. But again, it's more kit that you've got to get strapped onto your camera somehow. Another reason why I don't like this setup is when you're using the Canon MPE 65mm lens. It's perfectly okay like that. Your flash is coming from here, hitting your diffuser and lighting up your subject, which is great. But when you start increasing the magnification that the lens does, your diffuser is getting further away from your light. You can see now the light has to come from here, hit the diffuser to light up your subject. Again, nothing wrong with that, it'll work. But you are asking the flash to do a lot of work because it's got to put in more power to get the light through that diffuser. Here are some examples of this setup. So the next setup you can use is a ring light like this. Yes, I do have a ring light. I've never shown it on the channel before because it's a pile of crap. This is the Yongnuo MR58. It is the cheapest thing you can buy, and you can tell it is that cheap. But on the plus side, you do have the option of having focusing LEDs to help light up your subject to help you focus. I don't like the reflections from these ring lights. Here is an example of the reflections in a spider's eyes from this ring light. That I just do not like. Again, I like... Get rid of that piece of shit. Again, I like the diffusion from this, which is designed for the speed light. So let's get on to the last bit of kit. So the other lighting solution you've got to hand is the twin macro flash. This is the YN24EX from Yongnuo, and this is by far my favourite flash for using macro photography for a number of reasons. If we turn to the side and zoom in with this lens, you can see how the flash heads at the front of the lens stay where they are. It stays consistent, which means you're using less power on the flash because your flash heads are right by your subject. The other reason why I like this flash is the focusing LED. So if I half press my shutter now, these little LEDs come on, illuminate your subject, which helps you to focus on your subject. Another reason is you can power these individually if you want to shape your light. You can also move them around. This is by far the most versatile version of any of the lights we have looked at in this video. However, the light from them is very harsh, as you can see in this example. So we have to diffuse it. So you can use one of these. This is a set of Flash Diffusers for the Yongnuo speedlight. These are from Jason Canning. You can see the effect these have on the spiders here. You can see that the light is nicely diffused, but it's still not as nice as when you have this bonnet on the front. And the bonnet, for me, it wraps the light around the subject, and with spiders in particular gives a nice reflection in their eyes. So what we want to do is we want to start a DIY job of getting the best of both worlds. I want all of the best stuff from all three of these options in one lighting solution, and that's what we are going to do in this video. So to figure this out, we need to figure out why we can't use this, and the simple fact is you cannot stick that onto the front of a twin macro flash. There is nothing on the front here for it to grip onto. That's where the DIY aspect comes into it with this video. So what we need to use is some step up and step down rings. There's 3 rings specifically I use on my setup. The first one is 77 to 82mm step up ring. That's followed by an 82mm to 77 step down ring. And then that's followed again with a 77 to 82mm step up ring. So what we're going to do, if you take the 77mm to 82mm step up ring, what you'll notice is it can fit perfectly on the front of the adapter for the Yongnuo flash. It's not solid, so we are going to have to glue it. And what we want is a little bit of a lip on the front of here so that our diffuser can stick to it. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take the step down ring and attach that to our step up ring. We're then going to take the step up ring and attach that to the step down ring. Now we have a nice little lip that can go onto the front of our Yongnuo adapter for our lens. So to finalise that, we are going to need to glue it. So I have my glue gun here ready. Now I expect you to be far neater than me. I am doing a rush job here. So we'll let that cool down. Okay, we have that done now. So now we can take our Crafty Bells diffuser, again link in the description for this, and we can wrap that around our trim macro flash just like that. So we have our flash heads on there now, but they are a little bit close to the diffuser. Now you can go with that, but what I would suggest to you is if you get yourself a little ball head. Get yourself a pair of decent ball heads. These are not ball heads, they came with my video lights, but they are very useful for this situation. They're made of plastic, which keeps the weight down. And it does enable me to adjust where my flash heads are. So let's take one off now. And again, you don't have to do this, but I like to. So now I can adjust my flash head as well as adjusting where it is on the ball head. So I can bring it in like that. Or I can bring it backwards so that it's not as close to the diffuser. So this setup is great up to around 3 times magnification. At that magnification, your subject is going to be hitting this lip just here. We need the bottom of the diffuser to lie flat against the lens adapter. This is an easy fix with some Velcro. And I'm going to cut off a very small strip of Velcro. And conveniently, there's a little bit of Velcro on this diffuser already, so we only need to use 2 little bits. This first bit here is going to go down on there. Our second bit is going to go down on the other side. Like that. And then we want one long strip to come at the top of our step up rings just here. What we want to do now is just put on our Velcro onto our diffuser top there, and a little strip which will go on here. You may need to put a little stitch into the Velcro just to keep it in place. So now we have our diffuser on our setup and it is lying flat. and you can go from the normal position to flat very, very quickly. That will enable you to have diffused lighting all the way up to 5 times magnification, and here are the results from this setup. I absolutely love this setup. And again, we have our focusing LEDs. We have full control over where the lights are. We can control the power on the 2 lights. We can go into portrait without the light being on the side. And also, if you want to get creative with your lights, when you're in landscape mode, you can also twist this to have the light coming from anywhere. Downside is it's a little bit heavy. That's something that you would have to live with. So when we are out in the field, I will typically have my lenses already set up in my bag like this. So let's change lenses again, just to show you how easy it is to change it, and the fact that the setup doesn't change even when you change lenses. It's brilliant. There we go. Brilliant. See how quickly that was to change lenses. So it is actually quite quick to change lenses as well. And again, the lighting stays consistent. Our flash heads are at the front. And also, if I bump up my ISO, which I can do on the EOS R and get away with it, I'm using even less power from my flash. This, I think, is a brilliant setup. I'm absolutely loving it. Again, it is only the first version. I have got to do more testing, but if you want to follow along, the bits that you need are step up and step down rings to extend out the front of this twin macro flash. The diffuser from Crafty Bells, link in the description for that. A couple of ball heads for your flash heads. And also, on a side note, because we've got step up rings on here, we can now put attachments on here. So I can put a polarizer on if I wish to. I could put my Ryonax on there if I wish to. So it gives us a lot more creative freedom than the standard out-the-box flash setup. Here are some more images taken using this flash diffuser setup. I absolutely love this flash diffuser setup. Just look at how soft the light is on these images and look at the reflection of the spider's eyes. It's absolutely brilliant. That's it for this video. That is how I have created my flash diffuser setup for my current macro photography. This is what I take out into the field when I'm not doing YouTube videos. So what did you think of that? Did you like it? Did you dislike it? Have any ideas? Let me know in the comments below. But for now, my name is Stuart Wood. I want to thank you for getting to the end of this project, and I will see you on the next video. Nothing wrong with it. Works perfectly okay. But for me, I hate my microphone. Okay. So this is the setup that people are probably familiar with when it comes to macro photography. You got your speed light on top. You got a diffuser at the front. And so this is the, you know, I could speak perfectly good English until the camera starts recording, and then I can't speak at all. God help me when I do my live presentation at the Wolverhampton Video Club. Check in the description if you want to attend that one next week. So we need to address, there is enough. So what you want to do in this situation is get yourself a little ball head. Shit. Oh, Christ almighty. Let's do that again. Why do I have to have an air bubble in it? Got it all over me now.